year it was held in Malmö, and since then it's been held here in Gothenburg. And you know, Swordfish was really an effort of mutual collaboration from the start. But since that start, that collaboration has expanded. We've had help from people from all over Sweden, from the Nordic countries, from Europe, indeed from all over the world. People have come here to help us out, to create this event, and to participate. But the thing is, it's actually been more than that. Because although Swordfish is close to our hearts, and it's definitely close to my heart, it is an event that means a lot to everyone in Lima, to the entire community. And the idea from the start was to have an arena to try things out, to test ideas, present them, work together, to bring things forward, and to shed light on aspects of historical European martial arts, and test what is possible, first in terms of workshops and seminars, and later on also in competitions. We want to be a spearhead, a boiling pot of ideas, a recruiting ground, and much more. And this is an adventure. It's a bold experiment, a testing ground for new standards. Some things we discard and others we keep. And that is the whole point. We, the HEMA community, have built this, and we will continue to build it together. And it makes me immensely proud to be a part of this enormous project together with all of you guys. But although this is true, that Swordfish is an effort by the many, for the many, there are also those people who are, to a large degree, unsung heroes, or at least not, they don't get the recognition that they really, really deserve. They make this event come together every year, year after year. And one such person is not only a glue in this organization, it's also a person that binds together and keeps the club going here in Gothenburg, in the Gothenburg Historical Fencing School. And that's why our club wishes to present him with the Rudix. And as you all know, Rudix is given to a gladiator. He was given to a gladiator in ancient Rome as an honorable discharge. Now, before I present this to him, he has by no means won his freedom. He is far too valuable a gladiator, so if he gets that idea into his head, he can just forget about it. On it is our club's motto, Verbis ad Verbra, which means from words to blows. Alright, for 5 years in a row, he has been the Swordfish General. Please give a warm hand to Robin Hedlund.
Anders Linnert, ladies and gentlemen, senior instructor at Gothenburg Historical Fencing School.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we start the finals, we will have a short exhibition bout. Destreza demonstration by Ton Poi and Daniel Lopez. Please.
Ton Poi is one of the better-known Destreza instructors in Spain. And for those of you who don't know, Destreza is the Spanish form of swordsmanship based on the teachings of Jerónimo Carranza and Pacheco de Narvaez. And it typically involves a very upright stance, the arm extended, a lot of circular footwork, and the use of geometrical principles in fencing.
And just to remind, this is not a competitive bout. This is a demonstration bout, so there are no scores or points.
So typical of the Spanish school is a great deal of circular footwork. Some foreigners used to describe the Spanish footwork as almost dancing, and you can sort of see that coming out here. The other idea is the control of the center line, and in particular, getting offline to try and get a better angle on your opponent. One of the things you saw there in that match was what they, an attempt at what they call the movimiento de conclusión, where you get on the outside line, grab the other guy's hand to immobilize the blade and then strike him with the blade of the rapier. Unlike Italian rapier, which tends to be a little more heavily thrust-oriented, the Spanish rapier tends to be a little more cut-oriented. Your initial attack tends to be a thrust, but once a bind has been established, it's not uncommon for the fencers to make cuts, as you just saw there. So there's actually been a heavy representation of Destreza here this year. Tonpoy, I mentioned, is one of the leading instructors in Spain. Also, Alberto Bompresi is also here. He's another one of the leading instructors in Spain. So typical in at least later forms of Destreza as well as sort of circular actions around the blade. You can see some of that taking place. Some really lovely action here. But there's this attempt to envelop what maybe modern fencing would call an envelopment, getting around the opposing blade to control it. So now they've shifted to rapier and dagger. Although most people are familiar with Destreza as using just the single rapier, of course, it was a product of its time, and rapier and dagger was used all across Europe, including in Spain, and they had their own method as well. Although some of the rapier and dagger styles, you typically see you often see the dagger held forward. It seems that in Spanish rapier and Destreza, often you have the blade held forward and the dagger behind as a support to that. So the Spanish rapier is actually was generally seen as a fairly long weapon, although actually at the time it tended to be maybe a little shorter than some of the really extremely long rapiers that one saw in Italy that sometimes reached up to the armpit. But the Spanish rapier, typically the blade reaches from the ground up to about the navel, as you can see in the teachings of Thibaut.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tonpoy and Daniel Varela from Spain. And now, over to the tournament fights of the evening.
So first, a few words about the rules. The rules are easy. The fencer who has scored the most points at the end of a bout is the winner. A fencer may earn points by cutting with the edge, thrusting with the point, or using a draw cut with the edge of the sword. A fencer can also score points through wrestling, showing domination, or by forcing the opponent out of the ring. In saber and longsword, the fencers get 2 points for thrust to the torso, and 2 points for a thrust or a cut to the head. All other valid hits being scored at 1 point. For sword and buckler, it's a little bit different. For any attack to the head, whether cut or thrust, it's 3 points, and for thrust to the torso, it's also 3 points, with all other blows being 1 point. Rapier and wrestling have more specific rules. We'll go through those as we get to those bouts. One final word about the rules, that is, in a change this year, both double hits and after blows are being scored for full value.
Our first fight of the evening will be between Axel Pedersen and Kirill Danilov for third place in the Sword and Buckler tournament. And the fight after that will be for the first place in the Sword and Buckler. Ladies and gentlemen.
Of the Marksbrüder.